Hey everyone, it's your friendly neighborhood film snob here. Just a quick disclaimer before the episode plays. We had a lot of tech issues rocking this one, so we do acknowledge it on the episode. I tried to keep it as smooth as possible, but you will see some cuts here and there. So this week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you the tech that we used because they really let us down. Enjoy the show. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, and I was the teenage film snob in question. Folks, tonight's guest is on a little bit different. They don't tell you when you grow up that as you get older, you kind of stop making friends. And that's not me being sad and mourning kind of like my adulthood. Your priorities just change, you know. You kind of, you get a mortgage and you get married and you have a kid and, you don't worry about hanging out and playing around with people as much as you used to. The wonderful thing is tonight's guest kind of changed that for me. I met her back in 2017, I want to say, but she became a staple or fixture in my life probably from 2018 moving forward. And that's because, not because we became friends, first of all, because she became a huge influence and support of my wife. So much so that in our 30th birthday speech, she became a staple of that as well, because at the end of the day, if you win my wife over, you win me over. So please welcome to the show one of the coolest, artiest, funniest people you'll ever meet, and she's a bit of a dork as well. Please welcome Maddie Schultz to the show.
G'day. Good on me. Thanks for having me on.
Glad to have you, man. How are you?
I'm very well. Very well. The babies have gone to sleep. We're both winning.
That's it. We were talking about it before we started recording because we both have daughters around the same age, and we've both got our children to sleep, which, it's not a rarity, but it is a challenge.
We deserve a bloody award, okay?
We absolutely do.
Gold stars all around. The girls are asleep and they're happy. Yeah.
My daughter, we were having dinner before. My wife made some Greek-style chicken with some flatbread and stuff like that, and Zoe was playing around with the tzatziki, and at one point, she just puts her hand in and just smears it in her hair and just goes, oh, no.
And what you don't know is I did exactly the same thing yesterday, and my daughter just deadpanned me and thought I was really lame.
I think that intro kind of really does frame it up, because we're friends. We are. We've hung out and stuff, but it's definitely through Tina that 100%. I met you.
100%. Yeah.
And but it's definitely through Tina that I met you, and it was definitely, I think it was 2017 or 2018. It was just Maddie and Tash this, Maddie and Tash that, Maddie. It's just and at a certain point, I'm I guess I'm gonna have to meet these girls who have changed your life. And obviously, it was a very wonderful and pleasant experience, and I understood why very quickly. And we've hung out a bunch since then. I think back to we went and saw Harry Potter, was it, with the symphony orchestra? We went out for dinner.
Yes, I took her for her birthday. Yeah.
Mm.
I love Harry Potter. I'm not to the level Tina is.
I mean, is anyone?
I love the set design and the soundtrack, and so I just Prisoner of Azkaban's my favourite one, and it just so happened to align that Melbourne Symphony Orchestra were doing Azkaban, so I was like, that's it. We're coming, as if you're going to say no. Yeah, it was a really good night. And I find that I was saying to David, my husband, before, that you and I kind of share your wife. She's your wife. Yeah, she's your wife, legally, and for the majority of the time, she's yours for sure. But definitely, she's my work wife, and vice versa. I definitely get her during the work day. For sure.
Yeah, I mean, look, we don't have an open relationship, but that's probably as close as I'm willing to.
That's getting close to the line, but we haven't jumped the shark just yet.
I'm look, as long as you guys are just, as long as it's all at school, it's fine, I guess.
Yeah, no, we're professional work-wise. It's pretty great.
I mean, you just told me a story
always...
contrary to that 5 seconds ago, but sure.
Yeah, well, I'm not giving away everything, all the mischief we get up to.
That's true.
Let's just say I'm the instigator.
That doesn't surprise me at all. She said to me once, I can't remember what it was, but she's because you've said to me in the past, like, you know, we kind of share Tina, and she said to me once, but she's, I think the reason I like Maddie is she's basically girl you. And I was like, oh, yeah. I was like, okay, like, cool. And that's true because we don't, when we do get to hang out, like, it's very much, I'm like, oh, well, yeah, I am hanging out with the girl version of me. Like,
because I'm sorry, but you are nowhere near as embarrassing as I am. You are nowhere near as scatterbrained as I am. I'm sorry, you're just not.
It depends. Like, I mean, I've definitely chilled out and mellowed out over the last few years. Like in my late teens, early 20s, I was a typical angry teenage boy. Like, and now I just get angry about dumb stuff. I said to Tina, I go, like, the thing that annoys me, the things I can't change, the big picture stuff, don't bother me. But those little, like, things are within my control and somehow I still screw it up. Like when I kick the dog bowl and the water goes everywhere, I'm like, well, great, now I just created a task for myself. Like, why did I do this? I'm an idiot. Leave me alone. Like that kind of stuff gets on my nerves.
Oh, yeah. I used to have the inner monologue toxic thoughts about myself, and now they come out loud. So it's really awkward when I'm like, you know, setting up for art and I spill something and I'm in the classroom, no one else is around, but it'll just so happen that someone will be walking past and I'll be like, what the fuck are you doing, you idiot? And I'll be talking to myself. I'll be like, oh, bloody hell, clap, clap, well done, you idiot. What have you got on the floor? Or, you know, of course you've spilled the red paint on yourself, you moron, what a winner. You know, and like, you know, and it's just started to get worse and worse. I think the other day in front of my year 10s, I like called myself, oh, Schultze, what a loser. And the kids didn't really know what to do with that. And I was like, oh, I've got to stop doing this out loud.
And I've definitely become scatterbrained as well, because the amount of times I'll start a sentence and she'll be like, what? And I'm like, that wasn't the word I was trying to start the sentence with. Give me a second. I'm like, that's not how the sentence is meant to go. Give me a moment. Like, I haven't quite got to the level my dad is where he'll lose the remote in his pocket and then get angry about it for like 20 minutes. But I know I'm well on my way. Like,
I've done the whole where the fuck are my car keys, and I'm stressing and running around the house and they're in my hand.
Yeah. I did the wallet recently. I was on my way to work and I had to get petrol. I couldn't find my wallet anywhere. I was like, can I go home and get my wallet so I can pay for this petrol? It had just slidden down the side of the car. I'd seen it happen. I'd forgotten about it. Like,
I think that's probably just part of being a parent.
Yeah.
Suddenly the mental faculties are significantly diminished. You got other shit to worry about.
I mean, that being said,
you're keeping someone else alive. Like,
that's true. When we hit 12 months, I was like, right, done. Like, we've done the bare minimum. We kept her alive for a year. She made it around the sun once. Now let's see what happens. Did you
high five on Zoe's first birthday?
I like to think that we did, but I honestly can't remember. But mentally, I'm like, we definitely did.
Dave and I did. I think we did it in front of everyone at a birthday party. We were like, yeah.
Oh, that's that birthday party. I should remember that. The problem is, though, like, because we talked about, like, getting scatterbrained, all the important stuff out the window. Movies, like, still there. Like, it's the only thing I remember. Which I guess brings me to the topic of the evening, which is, are you a movie fan? I don't really know that. Like, we've had little bits. I know there's one movie you're a big fan of because you even dressed up as a character throughout Park. I know about that, and we'll save that in case it pops up later. But, like, were you a movie kid growing up, or is this something newer, or you just don't really care about them?
I am. No, I am a movie kid. I am a product of my parents.
Mm-hmm.
My mum is not the biggest moviegoer, but she's got like a clutch of little tiny eggs that are her like favourite films. I've slowly been like absorbed into like the cult of. But my dad, he's a movie man. He loves films. He's an engineer and he absolutely adores like old films or anything space. So I'm one of three. I'm the middle of three. And we were brought into the movie fold like straight out of the gate. It wasn't that they were on constantly, but I remember maybe primary school age, Friday nights and Saturday nights, there was a family movie on, whether it was on TV or we taped it off TV and we were redoing an old VHS, or whether we'd gone to the video store.
Oh, those are the magic words I love hearing on this show.
Yeah, like there was, it was, we sat there and we were all there and we all had a movie night. And the only time family movie night didn't happen is when my siblings or my parents wanted to watch a film that, I have to do air quotes, is not for you, Madeline. I would be sent upstairs to read in my room because I got too frightened of some films. And so I was abandoned and banished. And my family, I'm not even the youngest, but my...
Yeah, I was going to say you're the middle child, yeah.
I'm the middle child, but I was the over-imaginative child.
Do you remember which one it was? Which was the one? Was it more than one or...?
More than one. Yeah. And there was one... So I'm deathly afraid of E.T.
Wow, okay.
I can't even see anyone imitate it, or a clip on YouTube, or I cannot. It's absolute terror, which is so sad because it's such a beautiful concept, and I get the concept of the film. And there's other films that I adore, like Wall-E. He bloody looks like E.T. He's just like a robot version. So I don't know what my problem is, but what a dickhead. But I don't know. But I remember just being utterly terrified, and from then on there were certain scary films that I hadn't seen, but my parents just thought, no, her imagination will go berserk. You're not watching that film. And so I came late to the party for a few films like Terminator and Alien.
Oh, I was late to the party for both of those.
And I love them. I think they're amazing. And so slowly as I got older, my parents and I figured out the formula of what freaks me out, and it's any alien creature that's too close to a human. So
more like 3 foot tall, like just tiny alien.
No, it wasn't the small thing. It was, I think it's the human mannerisms. Like I'm trying to think of what is it? Pan's Labyrinth by Guillermo del Toro. The dude with the hands for eyes and the feast table. I can't do him.
Okay.
I can't do, what is it, Alien 4 right at the end where, what is it, the Queen has a humanoid sort of, can't do aliens that are close to humans.
That's really
I can do aliens, love gore. I think I'm an idiot. I think it's kind of funny. Anytime something gory happens, I'm the one laughing and thinking it's really amusing, or
I consider myself to be very desensitized as well. Like I'm the idiot in the cinema where something violent happens. I'm like, it's
yes, that's what I do. I just find it fascinating.
I get really I'm trying to think. I remember one. I always do whenever I say something to Tina, and she's like, "Oh, it's so loud." But I remember I went and saw Taken 3 in cinemas with my dad. You know, the least of the Takens. And something gets bottled in the head, but the bottle didn't break. And I swear I was crying with laughter for about 3 minutes. So I was like, that's amazing. You don't get it. It's brutal, but
it's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like the what is it, the scene in, once again, Pan's Labyrinth, where the sergeant breaks the bottle and bottles the guy in the face with a broken bottle. I was grinning like the Cheshire Cat, and David's like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I don't know, I'm finding this amusing. This is new to me. Yeah, no, I can't do suspenseful scary horror, but anything gory, it's a comedy to me. Hilarious.
Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that about you, and that's exactly how I feel. I'm big I'll watch anything horror. Tina has the rule, and so does her sister Liz, as we found out last week, where it's no children, no ghosts, no mirrors. Anything else is okay, but those 3 things are really, really tough for horror. But I'll watch it all, and there's stuff that's too much for me. But I'll give anything a go. But gore, I'm like, is it violent? The reason I watched the Saw franchise, because I just want to see how far they push the envelope. What do they do next? So
funny.
Where do they take
I think I've only ever seen Saw 1, and even that I was like, oh, this is cool. This is interesting. You know, didn't see these twists and turns coming, but like most of the gore scenes, I was just sitting there like smiling, thinking, I know I'm meant to be kind of put off, but this is kind of hilarious.
Saw 1 is so tame. Like, Saw 1's brilliant, like a really wonderful thriller. Saw 3, a guy's attached to a rack and gets his head twisted off. Like, that's
I want to see that. That's cool.
You got to check it out. Although it is the darkest of the one because it involves a dead child and it's very, like, as a dad now.
No, sorry. Can't do, since becoming a parent, dead children, can't do it anymore. I used to be able to just get through, but now, nope.
Yeah, I've noticed that's happened with me as well. There are a couple of films where, like, as a pre-dad, I was like, this is great. I don't care how dark it is. And now, like, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to watch this one anymore. Like, if I have to put them on the maybe list or the no list, which is tough. But.
Yeah, it just stings a little bit too much these days. Yeah.
Well, there's a movie, or a really wonderful Korean film called Lady Vengeance. It's about a woman who's falsely imprisoned for the abduction and murder of children. And her whole plan is when she gets out, she's going to, like, track down the guy who really did it and expose him. And in the last half an hour, as they're kind of like punishing this guy, they're playing the footage to the parents because the parents are going to, like, they're caught and the parents are going to kill him. And it's just like children crying in the background. And as you know, every child crying sounds and looks exactly the same. It's the same upturned mouth. And I was just like, oh, this is okay. I can't do this movie anymore. And I said a bunch of times, I really like that movie. Now I'm like, oh, just that crying scene is real. Oh, I can't do it.
Yeah, can't do it. There's a scene in, I don't know. I think one of my favourite genres of film is anything where the world's ending, doomsday, mass deaths, like, you know, tidal waves, volcanoes, Dante's Peak, Deep Impact.
Dante's Peak terrified me as a child.
Love it.
I've never seen it from start to finish, actually, because the last time I saw it, I was too young to see it. And the first was when, you know what? I'm getting that confused with Volcano because Volcano and Dante's Peak. Volcano, the guy tries to jump over the lava and doesn't make it and slips through. That scared me. And Dante's Peak, when the old lady gets out of the boat into the acid.
And she goes in the acid river. And she's all chopped up like Swiss cheese little lady. Oh, dear. Yeah. Hilarious.
I really like it now, but when I saw it as a kid, I was too young and I was like, oh, no. I was like, I'd never want to be in a boat in an acid river, like as if that was a thing that was ever going to happen.
Have you ever seen, bloody hell, Lake Placid?
Yes, a long time ago. And I know,
amazing.
Because I know, I was going to bring this up. I know you like bad movies, as do I. Yes. And I remember a little while ago you were saying you were going to watch Crawl, I think, and you were saying that we should watch.
That's exactly what I was about to say. We did a back-to-back feature, Crawl, and then Lake Placid, because David had never seen Lake Placid, and he was sitting there the whole time like, really? You like this? And I'm like, I know it's bad, but Betty White, giant crocs, like helicopters getting crashed down in rivers. What more do you need for a Friday night?
Did you ever watch Lake Placid 2, where they couldn't get Betty White, so they got a different Golden Girl?
No, I don't think I do sequels very often because I don't know. Ever since, Return of Jafar, I've just been burnt too many times by sequels.
Well, that was a while ago. You've been burnt for a long time.
Or Beethoven 2. It just set me up to be like, nah, no sequels.
Well, Disney don't sanction Return of Jafar as an official, like, part of their canon. Like, yeah, they're direct-to-video, but they don't really count as far as the theatrical releases. So,
yeah.
Probably a bit.
But it put me off. It put me off from like 10 years old onwards. It put me off sequels.
Wow. So well, then how do you go about modern film? Like, I don't know where you're a Star Wars kid?
Oh, yeah.
Like, do you go into those? Oh,
yeah, I am a Star Wars girl.
Yeah. Do you go into more?
Let's just pretend episode 1, 2, and 3 never happened. She says with a big sigh and a frowny face, let's just pretend it never happened.
Yeah, I've got a soft spot for the prequels because they were my first Star Wars films. So like,
you were robbed.
Attack of the Clones was my first Star Wars movie. So even though it's got a really terrible love story in the middle of it, the action stuff's pretty good. Like that, I like that gladiator scene quite a bit. But anyway,
yeah, it's got little merits, and it's got I'm all for just keep me in the world, keep the world going, keep the characters going, give me more. That's that still makes me happy. But I'm an original trilogy girl, for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Me too. I'm also an original trilogy girl, all about it. Such an easy laugh. I was like, if I say this, she'll laugh at it. It's a dumb joke.
I like it.
So you were a video store and VHS kid growing up with your parents and your brother and sister, and then you were scared of some movies because you had an active imagination. Does the movie thing then translate into teen years? Is it? I know I've spoken to a few people, and they're like, "Look, once I was able to get out of the house and had my own money or a couple of bucks, I went to the cinema with my friends." Is it kind of the same story for you?
100%. Yeah. I had a core group of friends growing up from primary all through to secondary. We all sort of lived around each other as well. So, we were the free range kids. We were the ones that sort of, if the street lights come on, get your ass home. But other than that, they didn't know where the hell we were most of the time. And then when we became teenagers and someone got cars, like we were at Chadstone, we were watching films. And some of my best teen movie memories come out of those trips. Some of those, like I think I really love film because I attach it to a moment in time. I attach, a film for me is even better when I remember like where I was or if something happened that night that I went to the cinema. And so there's little attachment things that I do with film that I just love. And one of the only films that I ever walked out of that I was pissed off and wanting to ask for my money back was with, a group of friends. We went to Chadstone and we saw something to do with the Wizard of Oz, and it had James Franco in it.
Oh, Oz the Great and Powerful?
It was like Punch a Whale bad, like Pitbull bad. Like how bad is bad? Pitbull bad. It was bad. I wanted to walk out, and I remember turning and there's like 10 of my friends, and I just lean over and I'm like, guys, this is bad. And they look at me and they're like, this is so bad. And then we're like, Houdini, because whenever we leave somewhere without saying goodbye or, leave something in the middle, we just call it Houdini, like smoke. And we all just stood up and we were like, nah. And we left, and we ended up going out for like Slurpees. There was like crazy hail that night, and we were driving in the hail because we're like 18 and cool. And so I just will always remember that movie was so bad, but my night was so great. And I think I got home at like 4 a.m, sopping wet, like just nuts off sugar. It was awesome. It was a great night. Hit film, great night.
I've never seen Oz Great and Powerful, but
please don't do it.
Yeah,
please don't. No. Have you ever nailed yourself in the foot to a floorboard? No.
Yeah, good point.
Have you ever shoved your head up a rhino's ass? No. Just don't. It's one of those things you just don't want to do.
I mean, you make a compelling argument. It's hard to turn that down.
Just don't do it. I'm a fairly patient person. It was bad. It was real bad.
That does sound. Well, look, when you've sold me on it. It sounds like I like the sound of the night, but I am remiss to walk out of a cinema. I don't think I've ever left a movie because I didn't like it. I've generally endured it because I'm like, you can always get better, right?
Me too. Like normally I can sort of say, oh, it'll pick up, or this act will end at least and something else will happen, but I couldn't do it. It just was horrible. It was horrible. And I've never walked out of a film. I don't think I've ever turned off like a DVD and said, nah, not for me, see you later. I've seen it through. I'm the person that reads books all the way through, even if 2 chapters in, I hate it with a passion. I will finish the book to know. Oh no, I have to know I hate it. And then it gets, sent to the op shop or, somewhere else, so I never have to accidentally pick it up and read it again. But that film, ruined.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I think the worst movie I ever saw, and like, we don't get negative on this show, but like, there's always at least one movie you don't enjoy. I remember it was before I was with Tina. I would have been 18. I took a girl out for a date, and we went and saw. I was like, "You choose the movie. And you choose the movie. I don't really mind what it is." And she chose. I want to say it was Epic Movie, so I should have known right then. Probably not going to be a very good watch. And I'm sitting there and like it's just like the jokes aren't landing. Like no one in the cinema is really laughing. It's really bland. And the film ends, and I should have known at this point the relationship was doomed, but I still held out hope. And she's like, "Oh, that was really good, don't you reckon?" And I was like, "Oh no, oh no." But like I've been single all through high school, so I was like, maybe like I don't want to turn down the chance for true love just because you liked a bad movie.
You're like, how far can I push this white lie? It was okay, doll.
Not far. That relationship fizzled out in about a month, I think. So, that's okay.
I'll say my second teen going to the movies memory was a horror film. And I don't remember what it was called now. It's just gone out of my brain, but it was a horror film about a village. It wasn't The Village because that film's cool, but no, it was something else about like a town that had ended up being haunted, but there were like zombies in there. Well, not zombies, but they were like creepy, crazy people. Anyway, it was too scary for me, so I sat on the floor.
Was it Silent Hill?
Yes, it was. It was Silent Hill. And I sat on the floor of the cinema as like a 21-year-old, just like fucking about with friends and chatting to friends while they are trying to watch the film because it was too scary for me.
That would have been the second one because the first one came out when I was in high school. It was one of the... I used to always go to the movies with either family or friends in my teenage years until I want to say I was 17 when Sin City came out and no one wanted to go and see it. So I went and saw it by myself. The first time I went to the movies by myself. And I loved it and I fell in love with it. And like now, I don't do it so much anymore, but when I lived 2 minutes from the cinemas, every Wednesday I'd go by myself. But Silent Hill, I was in high school and I was catching the bus home from school and I had an early finish, like 1 o'clock. I was like, oh, why don't I go see Silent Hill? Like, why don't I go see it by myself? And I went and saw that by myself in cinemas. And it was great, but it was one of those ones where like it was really ridiculously gory at the end. So, like the nun or like the evil woman who's like really a villain gets lifted up and torn apart by barbed wire, and I was like, oh, that's amazing. Like
I was just too scared. I think it was too suspenseful for me.
Was that the one with Jon Snow in it?
I don't remember. I don't remember anything. I was sitting on the floor. I was sitting on the floor like tying my friend's shoelaces together or like getting popcorn and pinging it at randoms and then ducking down and hoping that they didn't see me or like I don't know. I might have even fallen asleep at some stage because I just knew I'm not watching this. I know I will have nightmares for like 3 weeks. And even all my friends knew this isn't for you, but come anyway. And so, yeah, just went anyway, hung out on the floor.
I did that to Tina once. I think I've told this story on the show before, but I really wanted to see Saw 6. I hadn't seen a Saw film in cinemas in ages and no one wanted to go. And Tina was like, well, I'll go with you. I was like, yeah, but you don't like horror movies. She goes, yeah, but aren't they just violent? I was like, that's a good point. They're not really scary. And what turns out is that Saw 6 is the most violent, gory film out of all the films. And in the first 2 minutes, she covered her eyes and remained that way for an hour and a half.
Yeah. And you did the gentle, we can go if you want. It's okay, we can go.
I didn't do that.
No, you were like, too bad. You've buckled your seatbelt in, Thelma.
I was like eating
going
popcorn.
off the cliff.
I was eating popcorn. I'm like, you all right? Like,
she's like, what? Is it over?
Like the final kill in that movie, a guy gets a bunch of needles in his back and they're filled with acid and they melt him. So obviously I overcame.
I really want to say.
Now you can say I overcame my fear of Dante's Peak. So I'm like, acid bath, no. Acid injection, yes, please. Like, pretty gross. Alrighty. It says it's recording. I'm using a different account now. We had a technical glitch, but that's okay. And Maddie and I were just like, what were we talking about? Silent Hill, something like that? Well, no, we were talking about Saw 6. That's what happened. Because I was watching Saw 6 and a guy got melted by acid. That's what I was talking about.
Yes, and Tina was shutting her eyes.
Yeah, the opening to that, because those films, especially like after the first film was a little bit different, but after the first film, they have like an opening stinger where you just see like someone get brutally murdered. And in that one, two people had to try and chop off as much of their body as possible in order to survive. And that's where Tina was like, I'm out.
This is just now silly.
She's like, the woman cutting her an arm off, I kind of am okay with, but the guy hacking at his guts is really concerning. So,
have you seen Dodd Snore or Dead Snow?
A long time ago, but I loved it.
the pinnacle of that film was the dude waking up and he's seeing a zombie and he looks down and the zombie's pulling out his intestines like little sausages on like a magician pulling scarves out of his sleeve, but it's a zombie Nazi with sausage intestines and the dude's awake for it.
That's it's been a long time. I would have seen it in high school. That would have been the last time I saw it, when I worked in a video store. So so it's been a long time, but I remember enjoying it very much.
I remember drinking a lot and loving the ridiculousness of it.
Are you a movie drinker? Like, that's not one of the questions, but is that something that you do where you'll be like, let's just get some wine and watch some bad movies?
Very often, no. I like to pay attention, and because I've got a really terrible short-term memory. So for some reason, there's just no, I do. There's bits of things that just, they're gone and I don't know where they've gone. So I have to watch films a few times to shove it all in and to connect dots. And so no, I don't drink because it makes it harder. But when I used to live with my old housemates, we lived together for about 5 years. We'd have, every now and again, we'd have a very specific designated movie drinking night, and the film always had to be a Nicolas Cage film.
Nicolas Cage is an absolute. Well, he has had very little mention on the show at this point, but Nick Cage is a genius.
He's bonkers, brilliant, crazy, from another dimension. He's amazing. But I don't remember any of his films except for National Treasure.
The most important one.
I think I've seen maybe 7 or 8, and I have no memory of any of them. So we must have been drinking before the film even got on. You'll really enjoy, based on what you've told me so far, I think you'll really enjoy a movie he did a few years ago called Mandy, where he plays Nick Cage. I was like, come on, he plays? No, he doesn't play anyone. He turns up, he reads what he thinks sounds good.
So he's like lives in the woods with a younger woman, but like is his girlfriend or whatever. And this cult rolls through the woods and abducts his girlfriend. And then like it's super psychedelic, and like the music is like by King Crimson and stuff like the 70s and 80s. And like he has a chainsaw fight with like a zombie king, and like it's incredible.
So it's Taken meets the Von Trapp family in the forest. Got it.
So good. Like, it's really good. It's one of my favorite films of the last 5 years, but you'd absolutely dig it. Like, you just him covered in blood, to like running around with a chainsaw screaming. Like,
does he yell? Yeah. As long as he's yelling. What a legend.
There's a moment where, because he's trying to find the girl, and one of the villains like rips his T-shirt that she bought him, and that sets him off. Where it's like, you ripped my shirt.
There's a few in jokes with a few celebrities in our house. The major one always running is that Stephen Fry. David and I love Stephen Fry, so we call him Uncle Fry, and we pretend he's our uncle. And so in any conversation, reviewing anything, if he comes up in something and then in passing we're talking about him, the term is Uncle Fry. I saw Uncle Fry today, da-da-da-da-da. But Nick Cage, he's definitely like Crazy Cousin Cage.
Yeah.
Like, Crazy Cousin Cage popped up down at Fountain the other day. Like, yeah, like Crazy Cousin Cage.
He's made some wonderful movies the last couple of years. So Mandy, you got to get on.
Okay.
Color Out of Space is pretty good. It's based on an H.P. Lovecraft story.
Okay.
It's a body horror film. So like a meteorite lands in his front yard, and like strange things start happening to his family. And Willy's Wonderland, which is he plays a guy whose yeah.
I'm getting very, very, very sexual imagery, very inappropriate imagery of
it's Nick Cage, so you should be.
No, I'm thinking like.
No, I know.
Thinking like puppetry.
No, you're very close. Like literally, he's like plays a guy whose car breaks down in this like old town, and the guy's like, some guy's like, oh look, we'll give you gas money if you just come in and help us like clean the place up tonight. It's like it's kind of like a Chuck E. Cheese type restaurant, but at night all the puppets come to life and they're murderous.
Called it.
Yeah.
Called it.
I told you. You're
Called it. Genius. Just like Cage.
That's to me is like his gory trilogy of the late 20 teens. Like it's so good.
I mean, you don't love Moonstruck, where he's really trying really hard and he's being really serious?
I haven't seen Moonstruck, but
there's a good rant in it, a good Nicolas Cage rant about losing his hand. He's trying really hard to be a serious actor. It's hilarious.
He puts in some good performances. His new flick looks really interesting. It's like what is it? The Incredible. It's something. He plays himself. Like it's about Nick Cage, but it's getting like really good reviews. It's like very like self-aware. Hang on, what's it called? This is important. The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And he plays himself, and Pedro Pascal's like this drug runner who like invites him to his drug kingdom, whatever. And he's like, oh, I'm just a big fan. And then he gets involved in all sorts of antics with him. So it looks great.
Both of them should have been in This Is the End with Seth Rogen. And can you imagine Cage in that film?
I love This Is the End. This Is the End is one of the funniest movies that came out in the last 15, 20 years.
I love how self-aware that film is.
And that film, like the end of that movie, made me okay with my own death. I was like, you know what? Maybe like I'll ascend to the Backstreet Boys. I'll do a little dance number for me, and it'll be great.
Aww.
That's a wonderful movie. I feel like we've been hilariously sidetracked by Nick Cage and tech issues and stuff, but you do have a list.
I told you, I can't be trusted.
No, it's okay. Like, you are a content generator. Like, you could come on every other week. You got plenty of stories. It's great.
If you can't get anyone on, just hook me up.
That's great, because a lot of people say that, and I take them up on the offer. So. Let's look at your list. So I asked you to do top 5, and you cursed me out and said it was an unfair question. Do you have them in a particular order? Or you just kind of like, I've whacked 5 down and a few extras. Like,
I just thought of the ones that were really pinnacle to falling in love with film. The ones that I will never not pick up for the 100th time, the ones that I would never not quote, the ones that, taught me something about myself or the world, or that just are woven into the tapestry of things I like and enjoy.
You were using some real art teacher words there.
Gotta get the juicy visuals going, or the kids don't listen to me. Every now and again I'll shout fire, and then I can see the ones who aren't listening. So yeah.
Nice one. All right, well, what's the first? Now, you sent me a list, and then you told me that wasn't the list anymore. The list you sent me, I only knew maybe 2 of them, so I'm really interested to see what your list is, because I think what's been really lovely with this experience is I'm speaking to a lot of people about movies, and I know a lot of them, but every now and then they'll throw me one that I either haven't seen or haven't heard of. I'm like, oh, I'm going to look this up now. This is great. So what's the first one you've got? I know you've got a dream board or something there with you, a vision board.
It's a mood board, but it's got my list on it as well. So there's films that just immediately come straight to my brain. So they must be the favourites.
Sure.
But then as the other ones trickle in, I go, oh no, I've betrayed them. Yeah. Oh, please don't be bad at me. Don't iron my hands later. I'm sorry, Blues Brothers, but you've shuffled down the list.
Blues Brothers is an interesting one, because that was my number 1 film of all time for the longest time, and it's not there anymore. It's probably still sitting in my top 5 or close to, but it has moved down. So,
we need to have a Blues Brothers night, man.
Tina's never seen it because I was obsessed. So Blues Brothers is the first film I ever saw. Like that, my dad taped it off the TV, and he played the VHS. So until I was 15 or 16 and watched it on DVD, I had no idea it had any swearing in it.
Now that was a dad influence film.
My dad, absolutely.
That's really important. Whether you're influenced by film, I think by by a parent, or by just, I don't know, sneaking in and looking at films you shouldn't be looking at that are a bit above you, or I'm a dad film.
Well, for me, it's both parents. My dad was very much kind of like a cult film guy. So not even cult, but stuff that, a lot of people wouldn't look to. I mean, ironically now, like, everyone looks to them, but like things like Blues Brothers, anything John Belushi, anything Leslie Nielsen, like Flying High and Naked Gun stuff. Whereas my mum was more classic. So she would kind of go with some of the classier pictures and stuff. And then anything that's like super violent or cursy or like overly sexualized comes from the fact that I wasn't allowed to watch any of that stuff. So when I
Yeah.
got up in a video store, I was like, well, I'm getting everything I wasn't allowed to see. So
Yeah. No, I think the top of the list for me, it's a battle. It's a battle between National Velvet with Elizabeth Taylor, or The Princess and the Cobbler, which I think is also titled as Arabian Night or The Thief and the Cobbler, depending on what country you've got a version from.
Okay, so you've already listed,
battling.
So you listed two that I'm not familiar with. So tell me about National Velvet first. 'Cause when you said that, I was like, does she mean Blue Velvet? Or does she mean Velvet Goldmine? It's like, no, it's another Velvet movie.
So I'm trying to think of like the main things that drew me to the film. Was growing up, I was a horse girl. So I loved horses. That was, the little girl loved horses. That was me. I liked horses. And every year the film's about a girl who wins the Grand National. She wins a prestigious horse race, and she's disguised as a male, because females aren't allowed to race in it. But the whole journey is how she gets there and how she gets to the Grand National. And so it was always played around Melbourne Cup. Okay. So I would always have the excitement of, oh my God, there's a day of school. We don't have to go to school and I can stay at home. And at, 2:00 or whatever, the Melbourne Cup race would be on. Who gives a shit? But National Velvet's on. Like, they would play it. And it was one of those gorgeous, classic, I can't even remember if it was black and white or just out of black and white. You think I'd remember it. I've seen it so many times, but maybe to me I've just added the colour. I don't even know.
If I had to guess, I'd say black and white. I could be wrong, but it feels like 40s we're still getting black and white primarily.
I reckon you're right. But for me, if I'm imagining the scenes in my head now, I'm seeing them in colour. Like it's just so gorgeous. And Mickey Rooney's in it, and he's he's a platonic mentor to Elizabeth Taylor's character, which you just don't see that mentor role where they're sort of similar ages, but he's platonic. Elizabeth Taylor's character is just she's so steadfast and confident, and she's so just knowing of, this is what I love and this is what I want to do and this is what I'm going to do. And she, I found little pieces in it that I connected with, because, narcissistically, we always like to see ourselves in characters. But
of course, this movie's about me.
Well, she liked horses. I like horses. But another thing was
Clerks is all about two guys working in a video store, and all I did was work in a video store. Like,
and you just see yourself in the film, yeah. But she wins the horse. The horse's name is The Pie, so like gorgeous. She wins the pie in a raffle, and one of the big common jokes in my family amongst all my siblings is I used to win a lot of raffles. My parents used to they would make me pick numbers. They would make me go and draw my hand out of raffles, and I would win like a lot. I don't know why. And so I saw myself in her, because she won a raffle and she won the horse of her dreams that she knew she was going to win, and she knew she was destined to win, and it happened. And so there's little sort of attachments to that film, but I think it was ahead of its time, with a female protagonist who was never belittled because she's young. I think she's supposed to only be 12 or 13 in the film. She's never belittled because she's younger, or she's got this, wild idea of what she's going to do. She's got a supportive family. She has this mentor who she deeply respects, but she also pushes to keep helping her. And it's just, I don't know, it's glorious. It's a glorious, old, rich film.
It's interesting you made that point, because I think about like a lot of classic films, because we think about the 30s and 40s and 50s, like anything, it feels like anything pre-last year, to be honest. But like women in film often, we think about women kind of being treated as second-class citizens in film, and certainly in history that's happened. But if I think about a lot of classic film, all I can think about is strong characters. If I think about Psycho, like not Janet Leigh, who gets murdered in the shower, but the other girl who comes and looks for her. But a lot of Hitchcock stuff. I think about like Wizard of Oz. Like, yes, Dorothy kind of, everyone's kind of having a go at her, but she's the reason they get out of Oz, like that sort of thing. there is a lot of female empowerment into it, even like a lot of Marilyn Monroe stuff. Like people kind of see her as like this bombshell sex symbol, but like she's funny and she's clever and she's, you know, she's figuring things out. Like, granted, in some like a hot, she couldn't figure out the two guys were guys, but even still,
I must seem straight. Thank you, honey. Yeah.
But there actually is quite a lot of it if you just go looking for it. You mentioned Elizabeth Taylor, obviously Cleopatra, very strong female role and stuff as well. So, nice one. So she is the plot of the film basically she wants to win the raffle and she gets the horse, or is that just like the kind of first act? Or
the first act is she sees this wild, untamable sort of horse. Farmers come into ownership of this horse, and she happens to be walking home. I think her father's a butcher, so she's doing a delivery or something, and she sees it jump this ridiculously high wall, and she instantly falls in love. And there's this whole monologue where she's trying to explain, can a person ever fall in love with a horse? And the type of love that she has for this horse is, you know, just this pure, gorgeous pull of gravity love for this horse. So then all it is her wanting to be with that, you know, be near that horse and watch that horse run and jump and just feel the awe of this horse. And then when the farmer's fed up because he keeps jumping all these fences, he puts it up for auction, for raffle. And so then the second act is all about her coming into ownership of this horse and, you know, becoming, I don't know, more in command of what she wants to do and riding it. And this old washed up jockey who's played by Mickey Rooney turns up at their house. And so he becomes sort of a mentor about riding and just, I think, just sort of riding and breaking the pie in a little bit. And then she gets this idea of, I'm going to go to the Grand National with the pie, but she doesn't want to go to ride him. She wants him to go and win. So they sponsor a real jockey and they get all the way, you know, the whole town sponsors them so they can go. And then, you know, the eve of the big Grand National race, the jockey is just sort of in it for the money, and she can see that, and she goes on this rant about how the pie knows that you're not in it, and he knows who's riding him for real and who's just there for the money, and he won't want to win like that, and he's not like that. And she personifies and gives this horse a, you know, moral compass, and they fire him. Wow. And so the night before the Grand National, they fire him, and then she just decides, no, I'm going to cut my hair off, you know, pretend I'm a boy, I just won't speak to anyone, and I'm going to ride him. And spoilers, she wins. She wins the Grand National. Wow. They discover she's a girl, similar to like Mulan.
We just watched Mulan the other day. Actually, we rewatched it because Zoe's never seen it, but she loves the songs. So, and like obviously being her age, you would have, I imagine, experienced with Heike as well. She kind of watches the songs, then when the story starts, she kind of wanders off. So, like, that means, like, by the end of the film, I'm a crying mess by myself on the couch while Zoe's just, like, wandering around the house. Like,
dishonor on you, dishonor on your cow, Zoe. Yeah, no, it's just this beautiful old classic film with so much just warmth and love for such a simple concept of an animal. It's just beautiful. Yeah.
You sold me on it. Like, I've never heard of it before, but I'm definitely gonna check it out now. Like, it definitely sounds like a good one to watch. So,
well, even if you forget, November will roll around, Melbourne Cup will roll around, and it will probably be on TV.
Yeah.
or you'll remember and go, hang on a minute, I know I should be watching something.
I've written it down. I've got it written down right now, so I don't forget.
Good.
I wasn't like texting while you're telling that story. I was like, I've got to write this down so I don't forget. All right, National Velvet. So that's one of your all-time favorites.
Yes, and my first ever car was a Toyota Sprinter. So we named it Velvet, and it was blue. It had blue velvet or velour on the inside, so it was Velvet.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you called it the pie.
No, we called it Velvet, and even her new owner, she's since been sold, her new owner still calls her Velvet.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Excellent. All right, well, what's next? Where do we go next on the topographical cinematic map over there?
It's the best brainstorm you've ever seen. I don't know. I was trying to think that my second favourite is The Princess and the Cobbler.
So okay, and this is another one I haven't heard. Like I mean, it seems like you got a lot of classics on there, which is very cool.
Yeah. My Fair Lady was in high rotation at my house. Captain's Courageous. It's a Spencer Tracy black and white film. Yep. In a nutshell, little boy is a spoilt little asshole, and he falls off a cruise liner, and a fishing trawler picks him up. These days that would be called kidnapping because they refuse to drop him off at a port. But back in the ye old days, they take him on a 3-month fishing haul, and he learns to not be an asshole under the guidance of a Portuguese fisherman played by Spencer Tracy. And it's great, and we quote it all the time. That's another one that is quoted in my house. We quote, "Little fish, my little fish catch fish bigger than he is." Yeah. And there's a really good slap. There's a really good slap in that film. Kid gets walloped across the face. It's really good.
Nice one. So it's called Princess and the Cobbler?
Yeah.
And did you say it goes by another name?
It goes by The Thief and the Cobbler, I think, in America. Princess and the Cobbler is the British version, and I think Miramax tried to do a shoddy recut of it and called it Arabian Nights. But it's visually stunning. It's got Vincent Price as the villain, and his name is Zigzag. Zigzag, your Grand Vizier is here, and he rhymes. Everything he says rhymes. He's got a vulture companion called Fido.
Oh, okay. So I've just found it, and it's an animated film.
Yes.
And it looks like, and I don't mean to slander it, but it looks like a cheap version of Aladdin, to be honest. There's a genie with a blue face.
Yeah. So there is actually no genie in it. I don't know why they've put that on the cover, but this film holds the Guinness World Records. That's Zigzag when he's in an angry mood.
Oh, okay. It looks like
Zigzag's face turns from white to red to blue, depending on what mood he's in. He's a typical mood ring of a man in the face. It's got Matthew Broderick.
Yeah.
He voices the main character, who I think says 3 words in the whole film. So I wonder how much money he got paid to say 2 words. It looks like Aladdin, but it's not exactly. So I'm trying to think. It's about a cobbler, a poor male character, and he gets brought into the palace to fix Princess Yum Yum's shoe. And
I noticed that name, yep.
Yeah, Princess Yum Yum. And he immediately falls in love and just is besotted by her and she by him. But Romeo and Juliet style, they know their class, so they're not going to push anything.
Played by Jennifer Beals from Flashdance.
Yes, but she also doesn't have too many lines. It's more incredibly visual. It's got the most beautiful animated patterns and almost magic eye and proportion issues, and it's all hand painted. It's the Guinness World Records for the longest production film.
I saw that, 28 years.
Yeah, 28 years.
There's I've just got it on IMDb, and there's a frame, and it looks very Mulan-like. Work.
Yes. Yeah. I'm trying to think of other films that it reminds me of. I don't know. It seems similar animation era to maybe The Swan Princess.
Yep.
Kind of that level, but it was...
And Anastasia, maybe?
Yeah, kind of. But it's been made decades before, and it stopped and started production so many times that,
Well, yeah, it looks like it was if it was in production for 30 years, it's kind of around the time of Ralph Bakshi, who did the original Lord of the Rings animated film and Wizards and
the key
Prince the Cat.
The key animation designer or director, whatever he is, I'm pretty sure he did Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
What a film.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure he did that film, or I think he did opening credits for some films, any animated opening credits for things. I think he did some of those.
Yeah, he did. He was involved in it, yeah.
Yeah, what does the intertube say?
It says, hang on, let me bring it up. This is good. This is good audio. He was. Well, it's not even showing up at all now. Animation department. That's what it just says. So it doesn't say which part, but he was involved in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which, his art style is gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But the main draw card that brought us in, so all my siblings and I loved it so much that we destroyed the VHS tape from watching it over and over and over and over. It got destroyed, and we had the British cut, and we couldn't find the British version anywhere. And then 5 years ago, David found it. And so now I have it on my computer and on a few hard drives. And I promised Tina.
You made multiple copies? Well. You're like, we're not losing it again.
and all my siblings have multiple copies. Like the three of us are like, it's locked in the vault. It's never going anywhere. But it's got this thread through the whole film is that the city is protected by 3 golden balls, and they're atop these big tall minarets that no one can get to. And there's this hilarious thief who steals them just because he likes gold. He doesn't really know what they do. And there's this amazing montage of him like climbing up to get them. He tries to balance across tight ropes. He uses like a pole, like in pole vault, to try and get them. He flies like a pretend slingshot. Like it's very Three Stooges trying to get this ball. And through the whole film, the thief is trying to get these balls so that even though he gets them off the minaret, they roll off somewhere, and then he has to try and get them through the sewers, and then they get taken by someone else. And, he's trying to get to these balls. And it reminds me of Scrat from Ice Age, where he never quite gets the acorn. It's the OG. Seriously, this thief in The Thief and the Cobbler is the OG Scrat trying to get this treasure, and it always just slipping out of his fingers. And the physical comedy, and it's an animation, it's hilarious. Anyway, so the golden balls get taken down off the minaret, so the city's under threat, and this terrible one-eyed army is going to come and invade the city. So it's all about Princess Yum Yum and Tack, the cobbler, trying to go and get help and find the balls and save the city. But the physical comedy of the thief is what drew me and my siblings in. It was hilarious, and there's songs and there's chase scenes that mess with your magic eye, however you want it, perspective. There's a hilarious song with these brigands from the desert about what happens if you don't go to school and how dumb you are. And there's a creepy old crazy witch that lives in a tower, and she's so funny and gaunt and like weedy and just hilarious. It's just fun. It's a fun ride.
Okay. Sure. You've sold me on this as well, because I'll be honest, when I saw that first image, I was like, I don't know what Matt is selling me here, but I'm not buying. But you've turned me around. Like, you've literally, I'm like, you know what? I'll give Thief and the Cobbler a spin.
If you watch, even if you don't get through it all, I won't be offended. But the 2 scenes that you have to watch is the thief getting the balls off the minaret. You've got to watch how he gets them off in the end, because it's wonderful. And right at the very end, the one-eyed do invade the town or the city, and they have this big monstrosity machine, and you watch the thief chasing the balls through the machine. It's like Mousetrap, and he's going up and down, and there's spikes almost chopping his head off, and he goes to reach for the balls as they're rolling away, and as he turns around, a guillotine just misses his foot and he has no idea. And it's hilarious. Those 2 scenes, like at the start and at the end, almost, they're worth their weight in gold. And the fact that they're all hand animated, incredible workmanship.
No, it sounds fantastic. You literally sold me on. I'm like, you know what? I'll give this one a go. Like, it sounds good.
Good.
No, so that's the beauty of this show, man. Like, there's no bad movies, and hopefully I'll learn a couple of things as well. So.
Well, if anyone also wants to find it, I don't know if you can find it, but I'll try and see if I can re-find where we got it from, or I'll have a few USBs I can send out, or you can send out to people.
I've got a few suppliers. I'm constantly getting movies in. I'm always getting my shelf holds 600 or something, and I'm almost out of space. But I got a notification from the US the other day where they said it arrived. Made it through customs. I've got a French film coming there, and I got a notification from the UK just before saying that I've got 6 movies coming from there. So I'm always getting stuff in.
Good. Well, I've got one coming your way on Wednesday.
Okay, nice one.
Yeah.
Excellent. The Thief and the Cobbler, not an Aladdin spin-off or rip-off. It actually looks very, very, very interesting. What's next on your list?
Oh, my goodness. I'll say I am a massive Star Wars fan, but we don't need to go into why. It's very similar reasoning to everybody else. We don't need to go into Star Wars, but I am a Star Wars fan. I'm looking at my list and trying to think of like the other main ones that always got pulled out.
Like, this isn't visual, so people won't be able to see it, but Maddie was showing me before we started recording. It's a giant spreadsheet. Like, it's huge.
Not a spreadsheet.
Oh, like a giant...
It's a brainstorm.
Yeah. I mean, storm is right. Like, there's debris all over the place.
In my defense, the only paper I had in the house is giant sketchbooks. And so this sketchbook is A2, which is if you put 4 A4 sheets of paper together, it's that size. Because I had lots of ideas I just wanted to get out of my brain.
As I said, you put in more homework, I think, than anyone else who's been on the show. So
that's when you get to go, nerd.
I already called you a dork at the start, so we're fine.
Yes. I'm trying to think, well, Apollo 13 or Jurassic Park, your pick.
Well, no, you're the guest. You tell me, are they both on the list, or is it one or the other?
They're both on the list.
Let's talk about something I have seen. So we'll go with Jurassic Park. No, I knew Jurassic Park was on your list.
Yes.
I know you're a big dinosaur fan, and the chatter about Lake Placid earlier would have hopefully been a hint, because as we know, crocodiles and alligators are just, modern dinosaurs. They've been around for thousands of years. But you also did a very convincing park ranger costume a few years ago, which was a hit. I remember speaking to a lot of people last. They're like, man, I don't know who that girl was, but she did a great costume. So,
yes, my dream job. If ever I could actually choose my dream job, it would be a park ranger at Jurassic Park.
That would be a dangerous job, but
it would be the flippin' best.
Now, Jurassic Park has been on this show before, which is great. We always can get some crossover, but tell me about Jurassic Park. Like, were you seeing this when I'm trying to think how old you are, because you're younger than me. Did you see it in theatres? No, you would have been too young to see it in theatres.
Nah, it would have been brought up at a family movie night. It would have been one in the rotation.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was from my dad or from my mum. So my mum is an Egyptologist. So she loves, Cleopatra is
she all about Moon Knight then? Is she digging that one? Is she all about Moon Knight?
She hasn't seen it yet.
Because it's heavy on the Egypt. I
don't know if I could watch it with her. I feel like I'd have to let her watch it on her own and be shitty at some things, and then wait till she comes to me to say, "Oh, let's watch it together." Or But because she's an Egyptologist, she loves history and she loves old stuff. She loves she Gladiator it's in the rotation all the time. Cleopatra, Lawrence of Arabia. So Jurassic Park is in there, and I don't know if it was mum or dad. But I love a film where there's something that's presented as a monster, but it's only a monster because the film has told you that it is. But then when you think about it, it's not their fault. Like
Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, so that's actually one of my favourite books, and I love that book. And it's all unpacking. It's just their nature, and you've turned them into the monster, and look at them for how beautiful they are and how special this is to have them back. So I think as a young person, I just loved how cool would it be to walk around with dinosaurs? And then as I got older, I loved doomsday films. I love films where things go wrong for people and it's their own bloody fault. I love it.
Yeah.
So it sort of merged the two, just loving, old things coming back, and monster films where they're not monsters, we're the monsters, and Sam Neill, he was just beautiful, and Laura Dern is just so nuanced and believable and graceful.
Yeah,
And
great.
it's so quotable. Jeff Goldblum is.
I was waiting for it. I'm like, when does he come up? Because he's always the one people go to. Yeah.
He's so quotable, and I love that watching that film he stutters maybe once or twice. Like, you know how he does the like
Yeah.
he stutters less in that film, and the more films he's done, the more he's like added in. Yeah, I find like Independence Day, he added a few more in his little, you know,
in his repertoire.
Yeah, in his repertoire of like, what's it called when your screen's loading and that little loading bar spins around and around?
He's buffering.
Yeah, he's buffering. Yeah, he added a few as his career's gotten better and better. He's stolen more time to buffer in his delivery. But yeah,
and
I think that was
well.
that was the first film where my parents showed us a film with swearing.
Okay.
That is one big pile of shit.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, that's so funny. And we'd quote it, and we were allowed to quote it just while we were watching the movie, and then we weren't allowed to say the S word any time other than that.
I'm still not allowed to say the S word in front of my dad.
Oh, my goodness.
Not even if we're watching Jurassic Park.
You're cute.
What is the aha moment, I think, for a lot of people is the reveal of the brontosauruses or over the hill and stuff. Is that it for you, or is it, the glass of water shaking and the T-Rex approaching?
My favourite is the tree, the car in the tree. It's not even a dinosaur in it, but I loved like, oh shit, he's stuck in a tree and the car's gonna fall. How's he gonna do this? That one is like awesome. That's a great scene. And I loved the velociraptors are my favourites. And I love the velociraptors in the kitchen.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's I think that was like a childhood thing. Like, I didn't see Jurassic Park until I was a little bit older. I was probably a teenager when I finally got around to Jurassic Park. And that came out when I was 5. So it took me a little while to get to it. But I remember, like, kids at school are always like, everyone's favourite dinosaur was the Velociraptor. Like, that was the cool one because it's like a T-Rex but fast. Interestingly enough, I always think of, when I think of Velociraptors in Jurassic Park, I think of number 2 more when they're in the grass. And they're kind of mimicking Planet of the Apes a little bit, where they start disappearing. That's what I think of. Where do you go in? Do you go in for the sequels? Are you like, I like everything, or is it like one and done, or where are you on the spectrum there?
Actually, over the years, Jurassic Park 2 has taken the lead.
Wow, okay.
I actually enjoy... Well, I enjoy them all and I love them all for different reasons, but I tend to keep returning to the second one more. And I think it's because I'm an outdoorsy girl. You've been camping with us. I like the outdoors, and, I'm a grot. So if there's dirt on me and we're camping, then I can blame it on camping, not just the fact that I'm a grot. I probably haven't showered in 3 days.
I'm the complete opposite. Like, I was talking about this with Tina before, like when Zoe was making mess with her food. I was like, man, it's the one thing I can't do. I was like, I don't care about if she's got a poopy nappy. I don't care if she's like spit up, which she doesn't do anymore because she's, a toddler. But I'm like, the food, if she just touches messy food, especially food I don't like, I really can't handle it. And Tina looks at me, she goes, no, you don't like anything, James. You don't like having dirty hands at all. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. If you've been out in the garden, you wear your gloves and you wash them as soon as you come inside.
I'm the worst. If I don't have to wear shoes, I'm not going to wear shoes. So, who knows what I've stood in. I want my feet
covered at all times. Like, I'm wearing slippers now. Like, I wear slippers all day. Like,
there you go. We can tell Tina, no, we're not the same person.
Yeah.
But no, I loved the second film because you're so much more in the forest.
Yeah.
I loved all those giant redwoods and the scene with the Stegosaurus protecting their baby with the, in the sort of in a lake, and I loved the long grass with the raptors and the chase scene with the T-Rex through the creek, and the scene where InGens come in and they're trying to capture different animals in the big open open plains or whatever you want to call it, the game track, and then suddenly you're transported into the city. So it's fun to play out the holy shit, there's dinosaurs in the city. What would people do? Like, where the hell's the army? Why is that just not a thing? And And then you
Which
think,
it looks like they're going to do a bit
Australia
of.
wouldn't bring in the army.
It looks like they're going to do that with the new one. I haven't seen the latest trailer, but Dominion looks like we're getting a lot of cohabitation. Do you go for the Jurassic World movies as well?
They were okay-ish. The first one was okay-ish. The next one after that, I could absolutely take or leave. But I still love the dinosaurs, but the story and the narrative, yeah. But this new one, I think I maybe have watched that first little teaser trailer where it's just the soundscape with the animals during sort of sunrise and the beautiful Foley that's in that. I think I cried maybe the first 4 times I watched it in one day, and I'm pretty sure it came out while I was meant to be teaching a class, and I may have just snuck back to the staff room to watch it and cried a little bit in the staff room.
I think we've all done that. Like if the trailer's dropped, so like I'm like, oh, I can put off this work for 2 minutes while I watch this teaser.
Yeah.
I think it looks gorgeous, although part of me is like, yeah, but couldn't we just have Jurassic Park meets Mad Max and all the dinosaurs are riding motorcycles and stuff? Like,
I've got a few books like that, but, you know, I don't. Heike's got a few books like that. So I can live out that fantasy if my T-Rex is driving the fire truck and the iguanodon's driving the train. You know, I can live out that fantasy. But no, I'm a big Foley person as well. Yeah, I'm a big Foley person. So that just hit all the right nerves down my spine with the Foley of that and the absolute quietness of sound. You know, the expanse of sound was quiet and it was beautiful. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's one of the ones that I know I will go see in the cinema for the first time.
And we get both teams. We've got all of the original cast and all of the modern cast together. Which, you know, why not?
Would have been a lot of moolah.
Yeah, you're telling me. But I still haven't seen Fallen Kingdom, so I've got to get to that one. I remember I just saw a bunch of dinosaurs falling off a cliff. I'm like, this is really sad.
Oh, yeah, I cried then.
I was like,
that was really sad. Just skip forward.
Oh, no, I'll cry. I'll cry.
You'll let yourself cry.
I love a movie cry.
Oh, okay. I think this. Oh, yeah, no. Sometimes I love a movie cry. Sometimes I don't. I think I like a movie cry when I'm by myself. If David's in the room, I feel like a little bit embarrassed to do a movie cry, even though he lets me and he doesn't say anything, and he, you know, he's a very good man that he knows what's going to upset me and he lets me be upset, but still I'm like, but you're here and I don't want to cry while you're here.
No, I used to get really caught up on it. I used to be like, I have a real hang up about crying in front of people, but I'm like, look, I don't really cry in real life. So if I'm only going to cry during a movie, it's fine. Like, I tell a story a lot at work. Whenever I have new people, we play a game where we tell like one truth, 2 lies, that kind of thing. And I always tell the same one. And my true story is that I once cried so hard watching Toy Story 3 in cinemas that the little boy next to me turned to his mum and goes, why is that man crying so much?
Because it was so gut-wrenchingly traumatic.
Yeah, I was like, kid, I've been riding with these toys since 95. Like, don't get me started.
Yeah,
94.
These are my friends, not yours, and they're about to get melted.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
I mean, I was crying in the opening credits, but like...
I know, we're not ready to move on.
Nice one. That's a great choice. What a great... I'm so glad there's one that I've seen so I can talk about it a bit. But I was just thinking, though, as well, because you're saying how much your mum's into old things, and I was like, I guess National Velvet's probably a bit too modern for her, right? Like, it's...
Nah, it's black and white, buddy.
Oh, that's okay, then. Because she's like, it's... You know, people existed here, so it's probably a bit too new. Like... You mentioned Apollo 13, which is another movie I haven't seen. I've seen bits and pieces of it. But I think, like, when I tried to watch it as a kid, I was too young for it, do you know what I mean? Like, it was too serious. There was no, like, wacky antics. Like,
no, there's not much messing about. There's, like, there's a few little strategically placed lighthearted moments to help you because it's very, like, real. But that one was my dad, 100%. My dad is always been in love with the space race. He, you know, always talks about the moon landing. He he's an engineer, a mechanical engineer. He wanted to be a pilot. And space has always interested him. He loves, theoretical physics. He loves, anything like that. He's always loved, and he's always wanted to have someone to discuss that with. And it just so happened that he, slowly introduced the more, I wouldn't say family friendly, but the more palatable films to sort of ease us in. And then slowly, as we got older and older and older, it became me and Dad were definitely the sci-fi people. But Apollo 13 was in the rotation when we were kids.
Yeah.
For sure. From maybe 12 years old onwards, it was in there. And there would always be little side mentions from him about, where he was when the moon landing happened, or when they're discussing, I can't remember which Apollo mission it is, where the astronauts were killed by a malfunction in the door. Dad would talk about
11, I think Apollo 11 was the one.
I think you're right. I think it was the 11 launch that went wrong. But there was 2, I think.
Yeah.
There was 2 terrible tragedies, but the one with the door on launch, I think, was 11. I think you're right. But I love it. And Tom Hanks, fantastic. It's actually got a really good cast.
Bill Paxton, Kevin Bacon.
Yep. Yes. And who?
Ed,
I've forgotten who.
Ed, what's his name? He's the Dark Rider in Westworld.
I'm thinking exactly him as well. He plays the flight director or the NASA director of that mission. Ed Harris, yeah.
Gary Sinise, who was also in Forrest Gump with Tom Hanks.
You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan. Yeah.
Alrighty, so I'll put a disclaimer at the start of the episode, but yes, we just can't move with tech tonight. We just we got time limits, and then you got your computer crashed. It's just not working well.
Oh my goodness, oy vey is all you can say.
It's true. I say it every day. So oy vey a day. I don't know.
Yeah. And oy vey a day keeps the tech goblins away.
Okay, so Apollo 13. I think I said Gary Sinise played Lieutenant Dan, and then you rocked a pretty convincing Forrest Gump impression.
I've come to try out my sea legs, but you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan.
That's another film that makes me cry.
I love that film. I watched it 3 days ago.
One of my favorite little tidbits about Forrest Gump is that there was a survey back in the late 90s, and the majority of US audiences thought it was based on a true story.
Okay.
Which when I first heard that as a teenager, I was tickled by that. But then, I've heard, since then I've heard people be like, Titanic isn't based on a real story. So now I've just heard all sorts of people with wacky ideas. So
Forrest Gump is the classic, you feel like just a warm, comforting hug. You feel like you just want to put on a film that you just know so well like that. I put on, Forrest Gump or Little Women. They go on. And then I just
which Little Women? Is that the 90s one or?
I like both. I like the latest one, and I like the Winona Ryder. I like those 2 versions. I've seen the previous 2, even the Katharine Hepburn, and seen those earlier ones as well. But I much prefer, the 90s and the most recent Saoirse Ronan.
So is it Saoirse Ronan, Emma Watson, and Florence Pugh?
Yeah.
Florence Pugh is maybe the most talented actress we have today. Between her and Anya Taylor-Joy, we've got some great young actresses going up.
And they're really good at picking films. She's picked really great films.
So good. I remember when I watched Little Women with Tina, because I picked it because I'm like, well, she likes period pieces, so she'll dig it. And I remember at the end I was kind of like, okay, well, that wasn't really my thing. And it took a while, months, and now I only think about that film in adoration. I'm like, God, what a great film that was. I just it just took a little while for it to settle with me, and now I'm like, oh man, I've got to go back and watch Little Women. So yeah,
it's a comfort film. It's a warm plaid blanket.
I think the problem I had with it is I like Greta Gerwig, but for whatever reason, I've only ever seen Timothy Chalamet play like jerk characters, and therefore I associate him with being a jerk. And so I'm just like, who does this Chalamet kid think he is? Like, could put some miles in his soul,
playing
mate.
the pining little rich boy that doesn't really have much closeness or attentiveness suddenly get like enveloped into this beautiful little family. Like, yeah.
But even in Lady Bird, he was a real jerk and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
That's another film where at the time I was like, I don't like this at all. And now, like, years later, I'm like, what a great film that was. I wasn't ready to appreciate it. Like, yeah.
That's okay. That's okay for films to suddenly, grow on you. I think that's good. That expands, expands the world that you live in. Yeah.
I've had that conversation with a few people because I've had some people like don't necessarily understand that a film doesn't need to be digested in just one viewing. Whereas like, no. Like, look, it's great that Iron Man worked as well as it did the first time. Like, great. But some films, like, you know, you need to warm up to. Like, some films, like, you might hate the first time, but then after a couple of viewings, like, oh, maybe, like, I refuse to rule out Blade Runner 2049. I've seen it once. It's 3 hours long. I was like, that was long and boring. I wasn't into it. But I'm like, I guarantee you, if I just give it another 6 or 9 hours, you know, I'll probably see some more things in it. Like,
yeah, no, I completely get what you're saying. And I find that some films that are long like that take up a lot of mental work. And so you do need more time and more viewings. Yeah.
Absolutely. So Apollo 13, we got distracted again. But it wasn't our fault this time, it was the computer. Where were we? We were just talking about the cast. I haven't seen it, which, you know, comes off a bit rich, calling myself a film snob, and I haven't seen Apollo 13. What is it about the flick? Obviously, there's the connection with your dad and his fascination with the space race.
Yeah, and the appreciation for what they were actually achieving. Actually flying a tin can around, the moon and back again, and the appreciation for the effort that goes into that was, always paramount. But I love when things are challenging. So, like, The Martian is wonderful because it's problem solving, one thing after the next. And Apollo 13, they don't run into that many challenges, but there's one pretty big challenge after there's a malfunction, and they've got to then figure out how to keep themselves alive until Houston manages to contact them to figure out a fix to get them home and it's one of those great original space films where space and the big epic void of nothingness is the villain.
Yeah.
The enormity of them being swallowed by infinite space is the villain, is the thing that I just
it's not a monster or like a bad guy or like an evil planet. It's like something went wrong, and if they don't fix it, like, they're not coming home. Like,
and they have to spend time in nothingness before their demise. Like, that's there's only a couple of centimeters between them and nothingness at all times on this trip, and how that is it's a real true story. It's a real thing that people do. Like, it just blows my mind that people are brave enough to do that.
That's terrifying. Yeah, there's a girl at my work who's going to be an astronaut. Like, she's been training, like, she's been studying to be an astronaut. So that terrifies me more than like that, and like the depths of the ocean. It's just like there's so much unknown. Like, it's one of those things where you think about too long, you just kind of like you're like, I don't like that feeling.
Yeah, it swallows you up a bit, and you're just like, no thanks. But that's part of what draws me in. I think, when people love scary films that frighten them, they like that sense of discomfort and out of control. I think that's also another part of why I love space and sci-fi films, because that nervousness from that concept excites me and freaks me out and traumatizes me. But for some reason, I've managed to turn it into enjoyment as well. Like, it's that's where I go for that sort of panic. Panic pleasure, if you want to call it something. Yeah.
My favorite space race film spends most of the time filming on the ground, and that's Hidden Figures.
Yep.
Which destroyed me in the cinema, like absolute tears. Like I went to a mums and bubs session like on a Wednesday morning, like it was the only one there, but I really wanted to see it. And have you seen it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So the moment that Kevin Costner tears down like the
bathroom sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like destroys me. Like absolutely crushed. Like, I was just like a mess. Because it's such a beautiful moment. I was just like, that's it. Like I'm done. Yeah. Yeah,
it's wonderful. And when the main piloting crew, I've forgotten what his name is, but when he acknowledges the computers or the women, when he acknowledges them and comes to say hello to them, and I'll fly if Catherine Watson's maths is good. I'll fly if her numbers are good.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, those little acknowledging moments are just, they pull at your heartstrings. That's a great film.
Plus, Janelle Monáe is just so sassy in that movie.
Every line delivery is like, "Ooh, you just said that. Good on you."
That's a solid one. So that's my go-to. Even though we don't really see space at all. Like that to me is at the pinnacle of space race films. But I've got to get around to Apollo 13. Like I've got no excuse not to check it out at this point. Yeah. It's just one of those ones that's been on my watch list forever.
It's beautifully directed, paced, cast, soundtrack. It gives you moments to clutch the seat and then moments to breathe, and it's very I wouldn't say it's clever, but you can clearly see it was a passion project, the way that narrative needed to go. You can see it's clearly been made with lots of consideration and love for the story and the realism behind it. And I think, my second favourite of all time space film is Contact with Jodie Foster.
Oh, okay. Is it Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey being super serious, being a serious actor.
Yeah, sure.
Before he did rom-coms and then decided to actually pull his head out and do good films again. Yeah.
All he does is good performances now.
He's decided to have a renaissance back into actually doing his job. Yeah.
The rom-coms make the money. You make the money and then you make the passion projects afterwards. Like that's what Robert Pattinson and Kristen Stewart did. That's why I have nothing but respect for Twilight. I'm like, they were clever kids. They're like, let's make billions of dollars off these, teenage idiots, and then we can do whatever we want in Hollywood. And all they've done is make.
Stewart's been doing lately is I'm really enjoying everything she's doing.
Have you obviously Happiest Season is gorgeous? If you've never seen Happiest Season, which is her Christmas movie.
Yes, I have watched that.
And Underwater. Which it's basically Alien but underwater.
Oh, it's so good.
Yep.
It's so good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of her, and obviously Rob Pattinson is Batman now, but even Good Time, and he's doing a bunch of fascinating stuff. Sorry, you talked about Contact and I got to go in on a little...
No, that's where the tangent goes. That's cool. No, but I agree with you. The things that they've been picking up have been excellent.
It's same with and I like the Harry Potter films, so I'm not even going to throw. We'll talk about that at the very start of the show. But Daniel Radcliffe is the most interesting actor out of the bunch. He's Rupert Grint's kind of not really doing it too much anymore. Emma Watson does some very classic films like Little Women, but every time Daniel Radcliffe's in a movie, he's doing something weird. He was in Guns Akimbo, which is great. He was in Swiss Army Man, where he's about to play Weird Al Yankovic in a movie.
I think I watched him in a Prison Break film recently. He's a South African Prison Break.
Escape from Pretola, yeah. He was in Imperium, where he played an undercover cop infiltrating the Nazis. These kid actors who get lost in these franchises, they know what I don't know whether it's great foresight or whether they're just look, I'll make the money and then I'll choose the interesting stuff, and it's paying off.
I think they're getting the opportunity to just go in all different directions. People are letting them and they're going for it. Good on them. Yeah.
Awesome. So Contact is your second favorite space race movie.
Yeah.
which I also haven't seen. Like, there's a theme here, which is like,
But most of the films that you've seen, I haven't seen. Like, most of your favorite genre-esque films, I have not seen because I'm too scared. So,
but I think everyone just thinks of me as a horror guy. My Instagram feed would definitely. I mean, like, I am a horror guy, absolutely. But I mean, as I said, Hidden Figures is like one of my favorite movies of the last few years. I watch a lot of the horror ones get the likes like online. So.
yeah. But I would also say you're a comic and a hero aficionado.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. And I have not delved too much into like, I think I've seen a fair amount just because, but yeah, I don't know much behind the nuances and the links and yeah, so I don't go that way either. So I think we've got a good balance between us, I think. Of what
I just watch anything. I mean, obviously not Apollo 13, but I'll get there. But like, I mean, if I'm looking at my Blu-ray collection now because it's right next to me. It's always next to me when I record, and it is mainly superhero and horror stuff. Like, there's no denying it. But there's like South Korean action films and indie comedies and period pieces and stuff. There's all sorts of stuff in there.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to expand, but for like the go-to kind of like the warm blanket or the kind of like, hey, this is what I'm going to cozy up to is generally but if I think about it, I don't think there's any superhero film in my top 5 list.
Okay.
Or there might not be any horror. Oh, there probably is a horror movie in there somewhere. I haven't done my list in a long time. I'm still going off the list that I had 10 years ago, and that's probably changed. So, all right. So we've got one film left on the list. We've done 4. What are we closing out the list with?
Oh my goodness. Okay. I don't want to feel like I'm betraying any of my other films. I don't know. I'm trying to think of like, the ones that were in the rotation growing up a lot, or the ones that like destroyed me as a person. I don't know. I'm trying to think of ones that really, really like. Do we want ones that I keep pulling out all the time, or ones that just
this is your
really
list?
have an impact?
This is your list, man. You choose. Look, there's no betrayal.
The list is too long. I can't think.
But we can mention the other ones afterwards, so it's not like you're cutting them out. If you had to pick, if I go, Maddie, pick a movie. 3, 2, 1, go.
Gladiator.
Oh, what a pick.
Ridley Scott.
What a pick. I talked about this one recently as well. Actually, I think you've listened to the episode where I talk about it. What a film. That's a great film. Excellent pick.
Yeah. Actually, no, I changed my mind. Because I was thinking of a film that is really important to like me and Mum, because I've spoken a lot about Dad. So me and Mum, I'm going to go Taming of the Shrew, Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton.
Okay.
Taming of the Shrew. That one's special.
We've gone from one that I could very easily talk about to one I haven't seen. So.
But you already talked about Gladiator anyway. So
that's true. Tell me about Taming of the Shrew.
It is a Shakespeare. It is the precursor to 10 Things I Hate About You.
Yes.
Yep. So 10 Things I Hate About You is just a rip-off of Taming of the Shrew.
Yes, I've heard this.
Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton are in it. The general themes probably wouldn't fly anymore. Richard Burton, just yells at her while she's in her room and says, "We're getting married, too bad. We've never met, but that's just what's happening." And he chases her through her house and twists her arm and physically manhandles her and tells her that they're getting married because the dad's going to pay him to get a lot of money. So that wouldn't stand up anymore. But it's beautiful costuming, beautiful delivery. There's a few quoting things that we always quote in my house, and it's during the wedding scene, they say to Elizabeth Taylor, Katerina, do you take Petruchio to be your lawful wedded husband? And she looks and she does this beautiful Elizabeth Taylor, glorious, gorgeous smile. She looks at him and then she looks back at the priest and she goes, I will not. And just before she says, I will not, he grabs her chin as hard as he can. You can see her face squished up and he pulls her head in and he gives her this big kiss and then it's sealed and they're married. And the way that her face goes from this gorgeous, glamorous Elizabeth Taylor face to this screwed up, I'm about to beat you senseless, I will not, gets interrupted by this big, bearded, grab-handed kiss, and she's manhandled, and it's got some great manhandling in there that just wouldn't hold up anymore, and I wouldn't encourage or endorse, but it's one of the classic, like, me big man, you little woman, you listen to me, and she fights back.
Yeah, nice one.
She doesn't let him have a bar of it. She spits venom at him with her words. She absolutely makes life hard for him. She attacks him. And I think the best bit is at the end where, they are married. She realizes, hang on a minute, I'm now the lady of this house. I'm not in my father's house anymore. I get to call the shots and make the rules as the woman of the house. And if I just go along with whatever my husband says, then I can go and do my own thing and get what I want anyways. And so she learns how to just sort of, demurely please him and then do whatever hell she wants anyways. She sort of is tamed, from the onlookers outside, she seems tamed, but really she's just playing the system.
Yeah, sure.
And her performance is just... it's venomous. It's wonderful. So great.
And directed by Zeffirelli, who did a few Shakespeare. He probably most famously is Romeo and Juliet. He also did Hamlet as well. So yeah. Yep.
It's very, very similar stylistically. Very similar costuming and set, and the film quality itself has that sort of grain. Beautiful grain texture to it, and those beautiful.
Talking my language.
the deeper sort of oxblood reds, or the stone of the towns and the halls and the houses have that warmth to them, but they're darker. The film just has this sort of darker lighting to it, where it's trying to transport you back in time, and just some of the lines are just epically wonderful. And that was a favourite of my mum's, and my mum used to watch it all the time. And then when she needed a break from us kids, my dad would have to take us on a bike ride, and she would watch Cleopatra, Lawrence of Arabia, or Taming of the Shrew. So
you had a really long bike ride then, because those are not short movies.
We would go from my house in Mount Waverley all the way into the city and back.
Wow.
Yeah. So like her Sunday, she would have to herself and a break from her 3 chaotic free-range children. And then slowly, as I stopped going on bike rides, or, we got a little bit older, I would stay back, and I would have that special time with Mum, and I would just sit and watch, because I knew that it was her time to herself. And so I didn't bug her. I didn't ask her questions, and we would just sit and watch. And so slowly that was special for her and I to watch together. And and Elizabeth Taylor is just the most beautiful thing to look at. She's just the violet eyes, and the way that she can do things with her eyebrows to change her emotional response, and she's stunning. So yeah, love it.
I'll be honest, that's a pretty good list. That is a solid list of films. And I don't mind that I haven't seen many of them, because now it's giving me a lot to work with. I'm like, okay, well, especially, you've gone down the road of some classics, which previous guests really haven't done. I think the oldest film talked about would be, David, not your David, another David, obviously, was on
your mate.
talking about The Sting, Tina's brother-in-law, and I guess my brother-in-law as well.
Love The Thing.
But then Tina beat him by listening to the oldest film, which was The Great Race. But you've taken us even further back in time, which is good. That's the point. The point is, like, let's get some cool, interesting people on, have a bit of a laugh, and talk about movies that people maybe haven't seen. And if someone can bring in stuff that I haven't seen, that's a bonus for me, because it's like, great, now I've got more things to add to my list. It's a wonderful problem to have, which is not enough time to see movies.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh dear, all these new fantastic, highly recommended rich films. Oh no.
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, okay, after COVID, I got bored and I ran out of movies, so I'm just going to get people to talk to me for 2 hours so I can find out what to watch next. Did you want to? Was there anything else that was kind of like an honourable mention you wanted to shout out quickly, or you mentioned Gladiator, which is great.
Yeah, I'm a Ridley Scott fan.
Well, Alien, of course.
Yeah, Alien. Yeah, and I think my attachment to Alien is because the beautiful design and art direction in those worlds and everything is just so creepy but gorgeous but clever. And I think the original creator of the aliens from Alien has night terror disorder, which is what I have. So
okay,
that's cool.
H.R. Giger, I think it is, who does some very he's got a very distinct style, I'll put it that way. Like,
yeah. It's sort of erotic-y, spiky. Oh, I don't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like erotic
mechanical
spikes.
yeah. He's got a really interesting style, and I like his style too. But I don't know, honourable mention, like from my childhood, Fern Gully, Iron Giant.
Oh yes, we talked about this a couple episodes ago. These movies,
yeah. The Iron Giant. I'm trying to think of another honourable mention from childhood. Drop Dead Fred.
Oh, Drop Dead Fred! What a great film.
Rick Mayall, classic.
So good. He was meant to be Peeves in Harry Potter.
He would have.
Well, he was Peeves, but they cut him out. Yeah.
Yeah. He's perfection. I would not have thought of anyone else to do Peeves than him.
Rick Mayall
the way he
and Phoebe Cates.
And twitches and honourable mention, The Mummy. I love Brendan Fraser.
So we talk about getting to films late in life. I saw The Mummy for the first time. I want to say in like 2019. I'd never seen it until a couple of years ago, and I was just like, oh, I get it. Like, I get it. And and Brendan Fraser's coming back. He's starting to show up in things again, which is wonderful.
I'm so glad. He's a magnificent actor. Yeah. The Mummy was in rotation with us. I think we had it on VHS and we almost broke that one as well. And my mum loved it. And we quote it all the time around my house. That's definitely an honourable mention. You mentioned before that Tina loves The Great Race. We discovered that we both like The Great Race because I quoted something and then she echoed and answered the rest of the quote, and we were both like, oh my God, you know that film. Oh God, Terminator 2. Terminator 2 is really great. Love Terminator 2. The Martian, Interstellar.
I love Interstellar. Interstellar may be Nolan's best.
Yeah.
With the exception, I'd say the only, I like his Batman stuff. It doesn't hold a candle to his original stuff. I would go Prestige.
Yes.
And then Interstellar. Interstellar, people accuse Nolan of having no heart. He just makes very emotionally void films. The last 45 minutes of Interstellar, just soaking through my T-shirt. That's how much I'm crying.
The second they get those messages back from Earth and they rewatch, the 17 years or whatever of the footage from their family sending them messages, breaks me. It breaks me. Yeah.
And that was me pre-child. Now I won't be able to get through it.
Yeah. Interstellar I adore.
And a beautifully creative time travel movie. It kind of is do you know what I mean? And I just think, I remember when I watched it for the first time, that he's going, they're taking off and he sees the hand or whatever come through the ship and he's trying to figure out what it is. That's genius. That's do you know what I mean? That no one just writes that. That's something completely different. That's next level. I love Interstellar. Shocker that that's on your list with all your space movies.
I love it. And Dad and I discussed those concepts before. We've discussed, time dilation, black holes, the speed of light, the speed of sound, all of that it's been in conversation here and there anyways with him explaining it to me or whatever. So then seeing it in a film, I think I saw it before him, and then I said, you need to go see it, and then he went and saw it. And then I think we went and saw it together. And it was really hard for us not to keep like whispering under our breath to each other. We just wanted to like unpack it together, even though we'd already unpacked it individually. We were those annoying chattery people in the back. And yeah, it was one of those films that just really grabbed us. And yeah, and it's so beautifully done. I think I'm trying to think if, The Hand is the really big, beautiful moment for me, or...
Well, the bit for me, the really beautiful moment is when he's looking through the bookcase.
In the Tesseract, yeah. Three-dimensional space in a five-dimensional space, yeah.
Like,
that's just amazing.
I've only seen it the one time, it was a few years ago, so I remember bits and pieces, but I remember like that, like seeing, like it cuts back to like the memory of like the book falling off the shelf and just, yeah.
And the dust and the light beams and the watch twitching and and the idea of using gravity as the main communicator and the main savior is gravity and the main downfall is gravity. Like it's so cyclical. There's so many cyclical little links in things, and I really adore it too. I find that the Tesseract itself, when it folds up amongst itself, is almost like it closing the chapters of a book and being like, do you get it now? Do you understand? Like, come on, connect the dots, let that little coin drop as we're folding up, and then that's when you get to track back through all these moments. And I love it.
It's a great flick. Not only did you have a great list, but even your honorable mentions. Like I've seen it, so I'm like, I gotta go watch that again now. Like, we're going to carve out 3 hours and I'm going to sit down and watch Interstellar. I mean, look,
and the soundtrack. How good's the soundtrack?
I mean, Hans Zimmer, right? So, like,
amazing. Yeah.
All right, so now we're up to the part of the show. You survived. You made it to the end. Well done. And you've had to undergo more trials than most. We've had some real, setbacks with the tech tonight. It's the part you've been dreading, the rapid fire question.
I'm scared.
Don't worry, no one gets it done very, very rapidly at all. It's the not so rapid fire question. All right, Maddie, what was the last thing you watched?
As in film or any consumable media?
We prefer to go film, but if you can't think of a movie, I'll take a TV show.
Last night, Dave and I rewatched The Gentleman with McConaughey.
Oh, how's that?
Good fun.
Guy Ritchie?
Yep, Guy Ritchie, McConaughey, Hugh Grant, Colin Farrell, the Irish one.
Yep.
Farrell, yeah. And many others. Yeah.
Lovely.
Great. Good film.
Great. I haven't seen it. It's been, I kept getting confused between that and The Kingsman.
Kingsman's not as...
I like the first Kingsman movie. I haven't gone. I didn't mind the second one. The third one I haven't got to yet. But like Matthew Vaughn did those movies, and he used to produce Guy Ritchie's films. So in The Gentleman and The Kingsman, I was like, and they got the same font and the same coloured poster. I was like, which one is it?
There's parallels, like both of them. The fashion's beautiful, the suits are beautiful, the mansions are beautiful, the cars are cool cars. The Gentleman's got, gruff, beautiful, gruff drug lords, but they talk to you in a beautiful English accent while they're having a cup of tea and threatening your life. Like it's,
beautiful men doing horrible things. Don't want to commit to that one.
No, I wouldn't put it in that box. But it's a good film. It's worth a watch. Yeah, and it's worth a watch with people.
Okay.
Sometimes there's films that you're like, no, just watch it on your own. You'll enjoy it more on your own. And then there's films that you want to like have some mates with and watch it with some people. That's one you watch with some people. It's good.
Yeah. That's why I haven't watched Ghostbusters yet. I'm like, new Ghostbusters, I'm like, I've got to wait for Tina so we can sit down and watch it together. Same with Bond. I still haven't watched the new Bond film. I'm like, I'll wait for Tina, watch it together. Like,
yeah.
All right. That sounds like a good one. I haven't checked it out, so it's on my list to watch. We've all got one of those movies we've been putting off forever. What's sitting on your watch list? What's the one you haven't got to yet?
Oh my God. I don't know. I haven't seen any of the Godfather films.
Oh, okay.
I'm not overly interested in seeing them, but I feel like maybe I just should, because then I might understand the male psyche a bit better. But,
The Godfather's great. I mean, I'm just like shocker, like spoilers. Like a lot of people have said that for years, but yeah, it's a wonderful film. Most people prefer 2 to 1. I'm the other way around. I'm also like that with Alien and Terminator. I prefer number 1 to number 2 of all of those franchises.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not super interested. I kind of don't want to, but I know that I should.
Well, look, the little girl who loved National Velvet might not appreciate Godfather because there's a pretty horrible horse scene in there.
Oh no, the horse I know of the horse in the bed, but but I am a big Brando fan. I like Marlon Brando, so
Brando's great, man. Yeah, it's solid. That's a good one.
I'll go with that just because I couldn't think of anything else.
That's a good answer. I feel we've kind of covered this already, but you're a movie crier, are you?
Yeah. I think I always have been, but as I've become more comfortable and confident just saying who cares, yes, I am going to cry, then the response to cry is now increased.
I like how it's a choice for you. For me, like it's just become like it doesn't matter. Like it's going to happen.
No, I don't like people seeing me cry because I'm a pretty emotionally plateaued person, as I'm sure Tina's told you that I've got the emotional range of a teaspoon. But so when I do cry, I'm like, I don't enjoy crying. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, as I said, I don't cry in real life, but I will cry in a movie, and like I will like bawl my eyes out. Like Hidden Figures is a good one. Love, Big Sick. Big Sick will get me, destroy me. The last hour of Endgame will get me multiple times.
I remember the first time I cried in a film, and I was 5 years old, and I watched this. I think it's an Australian film. It's called Dot and the Kangaroo.
Yeah.
And I think there's a scene where she gets lost, or right at the end when she's saying goodbye to the kangaroo. And I remember just never understanding why a film made me cry. And I remember that was the first time I cried in a film, and I was really confused and confronted by the whole thing, because I was like, but why am I know this is a story. Yeah. Why am I crying? And I remember just not being able to stop. And that was the first time that I was like, oh, films can make you cry. This is new.
Yeah, I think my first one would probably have been Lion King. Like that's a pretty common one for people my age. I think Lion King, or possibly I remember crying at the end of Big Daddy. That one was I won't embarrass her without her being here. But if you haven't spoken to Tina about Paddington 2, like you've got to hear her Paddington 2 story, because that's amazing. Like all I'll say is she really didn't want that bear to go to jail. Paddington 2, for the longest time had the highest rating of any movie ever online. Like it most consistent, like 100% or whatever. It's a great movie.
People bloody loved it.
It's good. Tina, she struggled with it a little bit, but it's great. I feel like I know the answer to this one as well, but Maddie, is there an actor or an actress that you're going to follow anywhere? It doesn't matter what the movie is, they're in it, you're there.
There's a few. There's a few. Yeah, there's a few equals. I couldn't pick one. There's definitely Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely Brendan Fraser.
Yep.
Oh my goodness.
That's a fine.
Laura Dern, for sure. She picks great films. I will say I have a guilty pleasure that I really like, Harry Connick Jr. And I don't care how fat he gets, he's still beautiful, so I'll watch him in anything, even if the film's shit.
That's the point, though. That's good. Elizabeth Taylor, I'm guessing?
Elizabeth Taylor, absolutely. No, they're pretty good. They're
That's pretty solid. Yeah, you gave me plenty. That's great. We might have covered. Well, actually, I think we've answered this one as well. You've done your research. Like, I'll answer all the questions in the show so I can get to the rapid fire quickly. We don't like to be negative. There's no such thing as a bad movie, but the worst film we've ever seen.
Whatever that Oz one was.
That was great, but yeah, we mentioned that before.
Yeah.
What was it about the film? Because I haven't seen it. Isn't it Sam Raimi? Didn't he do it?
Couldn't tell you, buddy. All I know is that every word that came out of everyone's flipping mouths was just, I was like, are you bothering to act? Who wrote this dialogue? Who are you talking to? Like,
it is Sam Raimi. Sam Raimi's generally pretty good. But not with this.
I don't know. And I feel really bad. Like, what if I rewatch it? I'm like, this isn't bad. What was I on about? But I was enraged at how, like, I don't want to put down, like, I'm a teacher. I love students. Like, they're glorious. But it was like watching a Year 10 media film. It was like, this idea is dumb. Why are we here? What's the continuity? Who wrote this dialogue? Like, you found these, it was just, I don't know. It was over 10 years ago, and I still just seething with hatred for it.
I remember years ago feeling very similarly about the movie Sherlock Holmes: Game of Shadows. Tina and I watched it. We got about an hour in, and we turned it off. It defeated us. We're like, we can't follow what's going on. What's wrong with this movie? Like, why can't they just tell a straightforward story? We watched it like a couple of years ago, and we're like, oh, it was us. Like, the film is perfectly fine. Like, it was actually a really enjoyable movie. We're like, how did this movie beat us? Like,
there's a movie like it. I don't know there's some screws loose in my brain, and I have some interesting ideas to torture myself. But the book that I most hate on the planet, it's one of those books that I had to make sure 5 pages in I hated it, 10 pages in, 2 chapters, hated it, finished the book to make sure I hated it. I hated it. They've made a film of the book that I hated, and I'm considering seeing the film.
Which is it?
And I don't know why.
Why would
I do this to myself? But I don't know. I'm contemplating doing that to myself, even though I hated the book.
Maybe I've seen it. What's the movie?
I think it's called Into the Forest. I think the film has the same title as the book, and it's got Ellen Page at the time, now Elliot Page, and Evan Rachel Wood.
Oh, I don't think I have seen that one. Okay.
Well, never read the book. It's made me really angry, and I hated it. But they've made a film, and I'm kind of...
You got that morbid curiosity?
Yeah, why would I do that? Why would I want to see... I hated it. And why would I want to go watch the film? But I kind of want to watch the film. But I really respect those actors and actresses. I respect their work. But
part of me is like, and I try not to be too negative. Like, I remember, like, last year I was like, and part of the philosophy of the show is there's no bad films. And last year I was like, I'm going to try and be less of a snob. I'm going to be a little bit more broad with my selection, because then I can just enjoy myself more. I'm not going to kind of think out. And the test for that was Pixels. Because I remember when the trailer for Pixels came out, I was like, that looks dumb. Like, I like the idea of it, but I know it's going to be terrible. And I watched Pixels like, you know what? This is a great family film. Like, it's really fun. But part of me was like, if I hate it, at least I can be like, well, I knew it. Like,
I feel like the parts of the book that I hated won't have made it into the film. And so then maybe it'll be a good story.
Okay.
I don't know. But to be continued. That's another one that's on the watch list that I haven't seen that I might. I don't know.
It's going to be on your vision board next time you come on the show. You're like, all right,
I've watched it. Here we go. Yeah.
All right. And last question. You've actually been pretty rapid, so that's good. What's the one movie they should never remake?
Duh. Oh. As in, just because don't mess with it.
What film you don't want to, like, don't remake it. That's perfect. We don't need to see another version of it.
All my top films. Or we just don't need another one, like Poseidon Adventure. We don't need another one, even though I love them all. Actually, stop making Godzillas.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love Godzilla. I love that first one.
What about can Japan keep making Godzilla films? Because they make pretty good ones.
Yeah, as long as I don't know about them. Yeah.
Shin Godzilla was great.
I just don't want to know about it. Yeah, they can keep making. That's fine. That's not hurting anyone. But America, stop. Just stop. Don't do it anymore.
I'm kind of with you on that. Like I went and saw Godzilla in theaters. I was like, okay, that was fine. My biggest problem with it was I was like, I don't care about the people, but you have made me care about Godzilla. So what do I care about? Then Kong Skull Island came out, and I loved it. I love Kong Skull Island. To me, it's really wonderful entertainment. Setting in the 70s, perfect idea. Having Creedence Clearwater Revival do every song on the soundtrack, basically, great idea. Samuel L. Jackson as the villain and your monster, not really the monster, great. Then they do Godzilla, King of the Monsters. I was like, all right, looks cool. We're going to get back into it. Same problem. It's like they didn't learn anything from the first one. And then Godzilla vs. Kong, I'm like, well, it's got Kong in it, so it's going to be great. And they're fighting in the first 20 minutes. And I had the same issues with, like the way they win is that they created Mechagodzilla, and then someone spills a cup of juice in his controls or something.
And you're like, what? How did we end up here? Yeah.
Like, on paper, I was like, you have Kong and Godzilla and Mechagodzilla. This sounds genius. But for some reason, it just didn't cross the bar for me. So I might be with you on the American Godzilla films.
Yeah. American ones are in a different basket to, the Japanese and I just don't make any more. Let's just have those and stop and just.
I think the only way to crack the code with Godzilla is, I don't think he can be I think you got to do it like Cloverfield.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen it.
So Cloverfield is kind of like it's not Godzilla, but it's kind of like these aliens kind of attack New York or whatever, and it's a found footage film. But basically you just kind of see the after effects and stuff, and you kind of see like the destruction from above, and it's kind of very personal and claustrophobic.
Okay.
And to me, that works quite well. Whereas, and then the sequel was actually very good as well. John Goodman as a villain is something I never knew I wanted. But Godzilla, like, reptiles aren't personable. Like, you don't get like the fun of Kong being kind of like, he's kind of like a human. Like, it doesn't quite work. So I don't know. I think, there's Godzilla films and stuff. There's way too much attention on the people who no one cares about in the movie. And then when you do bring Godzilla, and it's like, well, I spent no time with him, so I don't care.
Yeah. I think I loved the first film. Well, not the first film, so I can't keep saying the first film.
With Broderick?
The Broderick version, the Hank Azaria, Broderick, whatever
and
version.
Goldblum?
Yeah. Goldblum? No.
Isn't Jeff Goldblum in that? I'm doing my research now. I feel like Goldblum's in it.
You think of Independence Day? You think? No, it's Hank Azaria.
I know Hank Azaria. Oh, you're right. He's not in it. Okay, I must. No. Jean Reno's in it.
Yeah. Okay. He's deadpan. He's good. I like a bit of deadpan Frenchie.
And Harry Shearer as well, another Simpsons actor. But I don't know why. Harry Shearer in Godzilla.
Yeah.
He plays a guy named Charles Kamen, and I wonder whether that's a joke because a caiman is a reptile.
Lol. Yeah, I think I just like the adventure of it. I think I was at the sweet spot age where it was like a family adventure-y time film, whatever.
That's how I feel about Batman and Robin. People hate that movie, but it was my first Batman movie, so I'm like, it's great.
Yeah. I have a question for you. Do you watch many sport films?
That's a really good question. I don't go out of my way to watch them, but if something piques my interest, I will. I'm trying to think of the last sport film I watched. Like, I love Bender Like Beckham, which is, I don't know whether it is a sport film. It's about these, these women
it's a sport film. No, it centres around a game. Yep. Well, when you were talking about Hidden Figures, It just brought me to it's a film called 42
with Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it, but I've heard a lot about it. Yeah,
I reckon you might like it too. It's got similar sort of pulling at the heartstrings and the social commentary, and I think you might enjoy that. And I wasn't sure if you like many sport films, but
it's funny. Like, you put me on the spot because I can't think of many sports films that I've seen, but I'm not against them. Like Happy Gilmore, does that count?
Yeah, that counts. But
Space Jam.
Space Jam, 100% counts. You liked The Sting, Robert Redford?
I haven't seen The Sting. That was one of the films, so that's on my list to get to. I've actually
so that's great. Robert Redford was in another film around the same time, and it's called The Natural. And I used to watch that with my dad a lot, and that's a baseball film.
Okay.
And that's what made me think of 42 as well. 42 is a baseball film.
I'm trying to think, honestly, I'm really struggling to think of a sports movie. So I guess the answer is, well, no, I haven't seen a lot of them. I really can't think of anything. Like, you've really stumped me on my own show.
No, that's just a question. I think most of the sports films that I watch are baseball. So like a League of Their Own, Angels in the Outfield, The Natural, 42. They all seem to be
Field of Dreams
related. Pardon?
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams, yeah. So like, if you're gonna dip your toe into the sports film genre, start with baseball.
Yeah. Nice one. Well, look, mate, that's it. You made it start to end. We got there, which is great. I got to do a couple of quick plugs before we finish up. But you've been a wonderful guest. I've been really looking forward to it. I said to Tan, I said, Maddie's going to do the show. She's like, really? Did she ask you? I was like, no, I asked her. And she's like, okay. And I've been looking forward to it. And I said to Tan just before, while we were waiting for the computer to load up, I said, okay, this might be the longest conversation I've ever had with Maddie.
It's because we're allowed to. We're allowed to just talk about films and not be interrupted. It's so good.
Oh. Absolutely. Well, look, you'll definitely be back on. Oh, yes, your monitor going flat?
Yeah. Plug it in at some point.
I remember the first time the monitor went flat, I was sleeping out in the lounge room, and it wasn't plugged in properly, and I didn't know what that noise was, and I ran into the bedroom and woke Tina up. I'm like, it's broken. She's like, no, it's going flat.
At least you didn't think it was the breathing monitor or something, and you're like, oh my God, my kid's not breathing. Oh God.
Oh man. Like, there were times where I remember I put Zoe down to sleep once, and I went into her bedroom like every 10 minutes. I'm like, she's just so still. She's so still.
She hasn't even turned her head slightly when they're really little. You're like, come on, what's going on?
And Tina wasn't home. It was just me. And like my mum and my sister were over for some reason. I think they were looking after her. And I was like, I know that she's alive, but I have to check.
Yeah.
And I would just put a finger under her nose to see if I could feel the breath coming. I'm like, all right, cool.
We had the little breathing monitors. They're like little discs in the bed, and they feel slight movement from how they're breathing. And there was a few times where Heike was so still that it set them off. And so they would be in the room on her bed, at her bed. And we'd come bolting into the room thinking she's not breathing. And she'd just roll over and like look at us like, what the hell are you doing? I'm trying to sleep. Parents, be gone. Parents, be gone. And,
I'll never not be stressed again. Like, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, as I said, you've been a wonderful guest, and you're more than welcome to come back. I'd love to spend another 3 hours talking about movies anytime. Everyone listening, thank you so much for checking out the show again. You can follow me on Instagram. I was a teenage film snob, an _ between each word, because Instagram is a real jerk like that. If you like the show, give us a 5-star review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and write some nice comments. Apparently that helps. And I put up a post recently about doing a mailbag. If you have questions, if you want to throw in your 5 favourite films, send me a DM and I'll talk about them on the next show. Thank you again to Maddie, our wonderful guest. And that's going to do it. So we say this every week, Maddie. We tell everyone, look, I was a teenage film snob, but I promise you I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.